Donald Sull, professor at the London Business School. So for me, the essence of the new normal is that it's neither new nor normal. And so what I mean by that is that it's not normal in the sense that we're not likely to converge on anything that looks like what things have looked like in the past. And we're not even likely to converge on something normal to the extent normal means stable. I think what we're likely to see is a continuous series of surprises that change our expectations, that change what we have to deal with, that change what business leaders, the challenges and opportunities they face. So I think to the extent people think normal is stable, just different stable, that's not going to happen. You know, my argument, and it's not just mine, I mean based on a pretty extensive review of the data, is actually, well, we get these periods of extreme turbulence. The turbulence, volatility, uncertainty, unpredictability have been steadily rising between the 1970s and the 1990s, pretty much by any measure you use. So, you know, I think when you step back and look at the big picture, what you see is because markets are more integrated, because technology moves faster, because there's more innovation, because we have the rising middle class in emerging markets for a variety of reasons, turbulence just keeps rising. Now, sometimes we get some spikes, but it just continues to rise. So I think the punchline, and the reason I keep coming back to that point, is I think people just have to recognize that is in all likelihood what the future holds and have to start asking themselves, what do we do? Well, I think you got to be asking yourself a series of questions about what does it take to lead in very turbulent markets. You know, what is my role? And there are a couple things. You know, my point of view is there are a couple of roles that are important. First of all, it's not being a visionary. You know, you can't peer into the fog. It's just, you know, yeah, you want to have a sense of where you want to be long term, but to focus too much on that, to be too explicit about that, to be too locked into long-term vision is a mistake. I think a second thing is organization is strategy. You know, if you can't, because if the market changes a lot, you can't lock into a strategy, get the perfect strategy, and hold on to it for 10 years. So if your strategy can't be your strategy, you want to shift gears and focus in on the organization and build it so it's future-proof, so it can adapt. I mean, you know, take Apple, I think is currently the #1 most admired company. I mean, if you look at Apple's strategy 15 years ago, it was mainly PCs, it was do it all ourselves, you know, they wouldn't outsource screws. You know, now they're a company that makes a wide variety of consumer products. You know, they basically orchestrate a network of collaborators to create economic value, and they're very open. And so I think, you know, we can always, looking ex post, we can always look back and find streams of continuity and say, oh, look, they had a strategy. But looking ex ante, looking forward, you know, you see a big mess. Because I think what a lot of managers do, unfortunately, they you know, become addicted to the fame, you know, the glory, the power, the sense of indispensability, and they spend their time just letting their organization not work as well as it could, and intervening when it breaks down and being the grand heroes. And I think they'd be much better served to you know, kind of step back, be less focused on the limelight, and more focused on how do I fix the organization so I don't have to make these heroic interventions. So, I mean, I think in a lot of organizations they don't do a good job of training people to be good, you know, kind of orchestrators and designers and engineers of organizations. I think in a lot of organizations, like professional services, law, banking, accounting, engineering, you know, you get promoted to the best position because you were a great engineer or lawyer or accountant. Well, you may not know anything about organizations. I mean, I think the reality is, yes, you want to have some very broad long-term aspiration. We want to make money. We want to make money selling beer, something like that. But you do not want to get too obsessed by quarter to quarter, you know, becoming a drug dealer, you know, selling the junkies another quarterly earnings rise. To me, the real heart of it is in midterm priorities. That's where the action is. That, you know, you find 3 to 5 priorities for your company for, you know, a 2, 3, 4, 5 year period, kind of must-win battles. And yeah, of course you have to understand the data that's coming in, how it, you know, is informing the future. Of course you have to have a long-term view as to where you'd want to be. But that's where the action is.